Everything we're going over today, some of the things are not going to be the way that you do your taxes. I could say it's a fact that these are all costs that need to be recouped, and they need to be recouped by charging your clientele for that money. Anybody can deny that that's a fact. It's a fact. Next in the spreadsheet, you're going to put in your variable expenses proposed for 12 months. So you can do sales forecasting. I already know what I have in the pipeline. I know realistically what I could sell this year based on the current employee level we have. If you don't insert the things that you currently don't have but want, you've got to put proposed numbers in there to get that money back. How many of you know how much you have invested in your operation and charge every customer to recoup that investment? I'm going to ask that one more time. How many of you know exactly what you have invested in total, cumulative through the years, in your operation, know how much it costs, and charge your clients to get that money back? If you do not know what you have invested and you do not charge customers for the investment, how do you get paid back your principal? How do you get back your principal? If you do not account for everything that you've ever bought and charge your clients for it, that money never will come back to you. Okay? So this is my worksheet. So everybody's going to have something different in here. So my current investment, if my entire operation burnt down to the ground, if I had to recreate Millwork and More brand, the investment I made, hired professional designers to create my logo, to get the website, all that kind of stuff up and running, and I didn't have 21 years to do it, what would it cost me if you had to get your operation going back up? You do not have, you may have, as your business has grown, had the luxury to wait for a great auction or a great deal or a show special, but you're not going to have that opportunity. So that is what you need to account for. You need to bill for this. If you don't charge your clients the money to reinvest back in your business, you're just going to have to pull more money out of your pocket. Unless you're one of the lucky few, let's be realistic, and I'm talking about myself here, what it takes to really turn around and sell and create a true sellable business. How much it's going to get? At best, your best case scenario, if you do everything, you're going to get 3 to 5 years of free cash flow. So, but it's only if you get paid. And it's only at the end. You need to recoup this now. So you got to drive towards that. So you create a business that's sellable. You need to create these. You have to have the money flow coming into the company if you ever want to sell it. And if you don't sell it, you got to make the money back while you're still in business, pulling as much cash as you can the years that you do have to do that. That's why I'm so heartfelt about this kind of stuff and figuring out accurately, figuring out the minimum to open your door. What's the minimum for the entire investment? What's the absolute minimum gross sales I need to make, and how many employees do I need to have? That's going to give you your minimums. If you don't hit those minimums every year, it's just money temporarily going to sit in your pocket and keep going out. How do you figure out how much you pay yourself? Anybody? Most business owners. Yeah, Paul.
Pick a number.
Pick a number. Most people, the answer is, I pay myself whatever I can pull out of the business for what's left over at the end of the year after I pay everything off. And that is not the way that any standard business runs their operations. But dumb cabinet makers like me who worked 31 years in business and don't have a business background did not realize that. You pay yourself what you are worth for the actual work you do for the company, not time. And most owners, especially if you're smaller, wear multiple hats. There's going to be different values based on what those operations are. How many people would currently stay a lifetime working at another company if you haven't figured out your pay this way, would put as much work in as you were currently doing and get the crappy pay? Nobody would. You'd quit. you would leave. If you're not paying yourself enough, you have to ask yourself, especially if you want to sell a business, what do I got to pay somebody to replace the different hats that I wear? You got to budget for that stuff. So you could pay other people in here. So the more people I bring in, the less hats I wear. This total amount's going to go down, but theoretically, I'll be taking out in profits and true dividends out of the company as I get to a point of sale right there. For those of you who don't account for this, why on earth are you punishing yourself? Why, if you wouldn't work someplace else and get paid such crappy money and keep doing it year after year, why would you do that for yourself? So you have to create a business atmosphere that can generate the kind of sales and the kind of volume you need and the kind of profits to pay yourself what it's going to take. All we've done so far is we've accounted for actual operating expenses, including employees and paying yourself as an employee. We're not close to profits. The class, what is it called? Art of Pricing Profitably? It should be called 101 Ways Not to Lose Money Like I Did. How many billable hours per employee are there in a year? So traditionally you're going to figure out how many billable hours are there in a year. And you're going to go how many employees I got, how many vacation days, how many holidays, personal day. On this page also does a summary. You'll see the summary right there of all those separate things. So fixed overhead, variable, yearly asset investment, recouping that, my salary, and this is all the actual expenses minus materials. Best case scenario. Next, this is pretty easy. Same thing. I'm doing forecasting. I ballparked and went through our billings from last year. Just like I don't break down the minutia hours and non-value added hours, we don't count how many screws or ounces of glue go into the average cabinet. We only price out the bigs, sheet goods, the finish, the hardware, the hardwood, and then I just average whatever it was last year. If I spent $400,000 last year, and $32,000 was glue, screws, and all those small consumables that I don't count, rags, you figure out your percentage. So, and the reason I do it that way with the percentages, if you don't have to go back through and break all of them. Just go through your major suppliers, bring that out, figure out what your percentage is one time, and use that forever. This is the snapshot of when I'm forecasting for next year, minimums that I have to do. So I have to, fixed expenses are in there, materials and supplies, I have to sell and create a minimum of 1.48, whatever, call it 1.5 next year. How much do you add for profits? I could share everything with you, my proposed. We could discuss operational expenses. I'm not going to not say it, but it's actually illegal for me. It's collusion if I tell you how much profits I add, because then we'd be colluding together to price fix. So I can't tell you how much profit to add. That's up to you to decide. I take a look at it that the company needs to generate as much profit as if I took that, remember that expenditure before, $890-something thousand. If I had taken that and invested in the stock market, or if I was a venture capitalist taking a look at purchasing another company and what I had to get back, I take a look at it as the same way. Because up until this point, all I've done is created myself a job with, I'm paying myself, I'm getting my pay. I'm replacing all my tools, but if I'm not pulling out any other money, I just created myself a really crappy job. So I might as well close up. So I can't tell you how much that is. What I can tell you is when you figure out how much that is, you got to add more. A lot more.